Welcome back to the 2016 European Challenger Series, and we're back with the second game between Inspire and Millenium, where Inspire are currently up 1-0. And I did not expect to say those words coming back from the first break to Fisher, but here I am.
You even showed my predictions before, 2-0 to Millenium,
unlucky.
You know, looking LCS ready, and then that's what we saw in game one. So
The Fisher curse, ladies and gentlemen.
My predictions suck. That's basically all we can conclude for now.
Yeah, that's what we can conclude, but we want to look backwards into some of the replays from the last game. First off, the bad Tam Kench engage in the bottom lane, where they just jumped in with Kalista without the rest of the team. And I think this was not the start of the bad things that went for Millenium, but was definitely one of the deal breakers. That just showed the team wasn't on the same page.
I mean, we saw so many mistakes from Millenium. This was just one of them, and also super weird engage where you're in no position actually to fight, and you jump 4v2. Now your team is coming from base, you can see them run in, and they're like, okay, now we can try and join the fight. But it's too easy then for Inspire to actually disengage, even though they were fairly low. So just very strange, I think, panic in their communication from Millenium, 100%. And honestly, if you feel like you're getting run around the map, your only call almost becomes like, we need to just engage, like, somehow. Yeah. And one guy's like, okay, I can Tam Kench ulti. Okay, I can Kalista ulti someone in. And that's what you do, even though it's not the right way to do it for them. But also the composition just had so little options. They had no engage.
Well, the composition had very few options. It also looked like Inspire had their number in that game, even from Champion Select after the start of the game. You mentioned first 2 minutes, they had the advantage because they got that one pick in the jungle, but then nothing with it. And it all rippled from that original turret that, again, was also from the team play. Like, they didn't set up the double wave. They took the tower before the opponents. Inspire managed to get an extra wave on the FLICKR before the Tam Kench went down, and then it just carried on rolling out of control. So, yeah, it looked like they just weren't communicating. It was just like silence on comms or something. It was real weird.
Definitely one of the games where you will go back and rewatch it, and you will very easily pinpoint a lot of mistakes that happen, and you can try and fix them. But that doesn't work from game to game. So if Millenium are not prepared properly to play against Inspire, I don't think they can change it just in the 5-10 minutes between the games. Yeah. But we might just see the team going like, okay, what happened? You know, we underestimated them. That was really poor performance. Refocus. That's what we have to see. I think we need to see Millenium get like standard lanes, get to play your strong 2v2 with Hansama and Masterwork, see if you can win that way, because I feel like the lane swap game, the macro game, judging from game one, Inspire is going to win that one.
I think that's really important, because the fact that they didn't have their standard lanes meant they were behind. And when they eventually hit team fights, like one we're going to take a look now, which was around the Dragon, Inspire were just so far ahead that they just killed them all. And also they're out of position, but also they were behind.
This is something that went all the way back to Champ Select, where we mentioned how Corki has the pushing power against the Nivea a lot of the time in the lane, and he pushed Pretty into his tower. Then Millenium goes down and takes the the Dragon. But Pretty can't join. He comes in super late in this fight, and you just saw him die here. But he had no impact in the fight, and it was very easy for hard engage Hecarim, Gragas flash body slam to then start the fight when Pretty is gone. And even though Tam Kench TP's in, Tam Kench teleport has so little impact unless you're like diving a tower. So it was just Inspire understanding their composition, and Millenium playing more solo queue than competitive in this case here. Because they were just constantly out of position and out of sync with each other, and that's why they got punished.
Also started in Champion Select as well, which conveniently we're just getting into. But they picked the Anivia in the second to last rotation as well, not even last pick. And it was like, okay, Hecarim. And then we saw Hecarim in the top lane, just this mid-game power spike along with the Corki. And we said in Champion Select they were going to hit it hard at the very start of the game, into the mid-game. That's exactly what we saw. Yeah. And Inspire, or rather Millenium, weren't able to punish them until they got to that stage and couldn't stall out as well. And even if they stalled out, what are they going to do with like an Anivia up against a Corki who's poking you constantly? And
that's what I like about stuff like Hecarim, who can hard engage on Anivia. Like, the wall doesn't do anything because he's just going to fly right over it, and he's going to get onto you, so your zone control you normally offers doesn't work.
Yeah.
It is very likely Inspire has used the entire week preparing certain picks that do well against Pretty's champion pool, because it's very predictable. It is Anivia, it's Orianna, these kind of control mages who all suffer against these hard engaged champions like a Hecarim. So definitely seems to be the game plan for Inspire. Pick and bans, a lot of the same. Corki now being banned away, Millenium does not want to first pick it. Could see a first pick Kalista come in, but then again, I don't think it has that much value because you can then trade it for Lucian. I actually rather see something else being first picked by Millenium with the way pick and bans are going now.
Yeah, and once again, Cogmore banned out, so good to see priority on that one being banned away. Poppy was the last ban, so first pick, what are we looking at?
Well, jungle picks, everything is open, basically. So we're looking at Poppy's banned away, Fiora is open up top lane, Alistar is being banned. So a lot of the normal potential first picks are gone here. GP has been banned, obviously.
Kallista's open.
We're looking at either they go Kallista if they want that, or they go for Fiora, or I feel like they can go for potentially a standout jungle pick like in Italy. But we have seen both teams don't value that as a clear tier 1, so they go different instead.
Yeah, Joko doesn't really strike me as a big Italy player, unlike someone who has a very similar name to him, Ducko. But then he did get executed in the jungle after 2 minutes. Fiora in the top lane, so as their priority pick. I want to see what the response is from Inspire. What can they do? What do they have? I
mean, the same again. Kallista is the high valued AD carry at this point, and with so many of the normal very early picks being removed, I think Kallista is perfectly fine. And then normally you would either go for your support pick and show your dual lane completely, or you just go for jungle pick. Yeah. Just because there's so many good junglers available, you don't really show that much by locking it in, and Graves is the one. We expected him to fall a bit further down the list, now that he received a few more nerfs, more counterplay available against him with more delays on certain abilities. Clearly, Inspire wants physical damage from the jungler.
Which means AP top and mid, maybe?
Yes, very. I mean, that's one of the reasons you would pick Graves at this point. If you want to have AP in other lanes.
Like LeBlanc and Ahri.
LeBlanc, Ahri, top lane. I don't know, we can look. It's an AP top lane. Ryze is obviously dead now. And Malphite does AP damage.
Nautilus, I don't know, like any of the tanks right now. We're seeing a bunch of tanks being played in the top lane who, even if they don't deal a lot of AP damage, they just don't do any damage at all. So if you want AD from the jungle, you can get the damage there. So it makes sense. It doesn't really reveal too much about the composition, so Millenium can't react to it in that way. Rek'Sai picked up as the next jungler. We're thinking he was, or she was going to fall down a little further in terms of the tier list. Gragas is still available in this game, and then Pickett and Thresh will go into Masterwork as well.
So Rek'Sai has become this pick where you pick Rek'Sai to scout the enemy jungler more than you pick Rek'Sai to do something yourself. Like, your job is basically to keep track of where the enemy jungler is going, and Rek'Sai won't look to like 1v1 the Graves. You can gank better though, so that is an option for Joko in this game to be more active in the early game in terms of ganking, but otherwise you track the enemy jungler, you focus on early vision, and then in teamfights you build Cinderhulk and you become a frontline tank, and you're basically a CC machine, or CC bot like with the knockup, and that becomes like your role. So it's a very safe pick. It's rarely the game-breaking or game-changing pick though in the jungle. Even
up against Graves, Rek'Sai was always a great pick because most junglers couldn't, before this patch, duel Graves just one-on-one, so Rek'Sai would just track him around the jungle. Now, with the changes to his Q and the fact he can't animate and cancel his auto-attack into Q or ultimate, I actually feel like Rek'Sai may be able to stand toe-to-toe with him, because there is reaction time now. Even if you get hit up against a wall, you can still walk away if you're on the edge of it, or even flash away, or do whatever, or dash. So that trade I don't think is actually too bad. So if they catch him with like a hook or something, they can actually kill him now. Last two picks came in from Millenium. Lucian and Anivia again, final rotation.
Pick blind.
Into mid laner, which is the last pick, unless it's Morgana mid.
So Pretty again sticking to his standard picks. Definitely not changing up anything. Millenium with a composition where you have the strong 4v4, Rek'Sai, Thresh, Anivia, and the Lucian, and then you have the split pushing champion that can basically outscale everything in Fiora. So it's a very solid composition, very safe in many ways, except for the Anivia mid lane, who I feel like has a lot of weaknesses that can be punished by an aggressive early laner who can pressure early to mid game quite a lot. We talked about preparing these picks against Anivia. Malphite is another one where, you want to set up your zone control, wall, Anivia ulti. Malphite just smacks right into you, stops that from happening. So clearly Inspire with the Hecarim and now Malphite are saying we want to have hard engaged top laners. And that's what they've been getting in 2 games now.
Well, Hovering Cassiopeia, don't know if it's going to be locked in, but it was a CosQ special back last year. Going to be swapped up to LeBlanc here. So, yeah, AP mid laner coming out, and that would also shut down an Anivia if they jump over, land the combo, she gets egged, and then they have enough time to follow up.
And it's the mid lane pressure. We talked about, again, punish Anivia in the start of the game. Not necessarily by killing her, but by you having control of mid lane. So your jungler, in this case the Graves, who's so strong in the 1v1 skirmish, can get into the enemy jungle. He can get down his vision, he can seal away camps, he can spot the Rek'Sai now. And also it allows the LeBlanc very easily to roam from mid lane to other lanes because she can pressure the Anivia, so it's very hard for Anivia to then contest it. And then we see from Inspire, it's a lot of the same, I feel. It's different picks, but it's the same deal. We want to fight in the mid game. Malphite TPs, LeBlanc control in mid lane, Graves in his early burst damage. There's a lot of explosive power here, where Millenium is the team more looking to scale up with Fiora, scale up with Anivia. So the tables are once again turned compared to what we have seen before from Millenium, and they couldn't play this style last game at all. They couldn't wait. They just played super aggressive when they shouldn't. If they do the same in this one, I think Inspire is going to be able to punish them very easily.
Yeah, we might even see the 2-0. Like, in that last game, as you mentioned, we could even see a carbon copy of that last game. This time, Masterworks on a playmaking support, so he's going to have an itchy trigger finger, and then a Black Shield come out, and it's just like, Yeah, so, I don't know, it'll be interesting to get into this game, but it needs to be a playstyle difference from Millenium with a very similar composition to last game in terms of their objectives. Hans Sauer and Masterwork on Lucian Thresh. Will they even get the 2v2? Last time we saw the lane swap.
Again, looking just at the way Millenium played the lane swap before, I feel like Millenium has to get the lane swap. Get standard lanes. And I think Millenium will really benefit because Lucian Thresh is a super good 2v2 lane. Very, very strong to trade together with those two. Fiora into Malphite. Fiora does really well against Malphite. So I'm really looking at Millenium trying to aim to get standard lanes. If they don't get it, do what they did in the last game, where once the first 2 towers goes down, you swap your dual lane against the enemy. You don't try and fast push another tower, you just get that 2v2 as quickly as possible. You just don't over-chase and get TP'd on like we saw in the last game.
Yes, that's the key there. This game could be maybe a little bit better if Masterwork stays a little further back and there's a Dark Passage coming out, but
just
still,
don't chase through the enemy T2 tower
in 5 minutes. Just don't go that far, yeah. Anyway, jump on Twitter, use the hashtags, get involved in the discussion. Hashtag MILWin if you think they're going to pull it back in Game 2. And hashtag IEWin if you think it's going to be a 2-0, which I was not expecting coming into the week, but is a very real possibility in this game with how Inspire played last game and Millenium played last game. And in this game, we basically have 2 compositions which could do the same game and have it play out the same way.
Different champions, but somewhat the same from both teams. Scaling on Millenium's side, more mid-game pressure from Inspire.
Tools to deal with, like an Anivia from Inspire.
I like the way Satorius played with Hecarim in the last game. He needs to do the same on Malphite. But so much, again, comes down to the lane assignments in the early game. If it becomes a lane swap, I just want to see Millenium fast push that first tower and then swap into the 2v2 lane. If possible, we might see Inspire try and dodge around it. Same invade we saw in the last game. Morgana first, possibility of landing the binding, deep vision. So this tells Millenium there's a good chance Venelbo and Woolite will be on top side, because it's also very late invade. You see 120 here, the minions are already spawned. You can't really change it around for Inspire. No, at least you have to recall instantly in that jungle and then rush bot lane. So there's a high chance they will be top side. We will get the lane swap, so this is good from Inspire. Very important for them, I feel.
Getting the non-standard lanes, could be real big. Wendelbo heading into the jungle with Inspire. Millenium starting on the top side as well. Joko starting Merkwolves. And are going to be pressured out by Warline and Wendelbo. At least they'll have the Smite, but the Merkwolves will reset. The binding lands from Wendelbo. Joko gets forced into his bottom jungle.
But nobody's pushing the lane round for Inspire. Woolite is not there to last hit and slowly build it up and start grouping those minions to get them to towers. So this could set Inspire behind in how fast they can push. Bot lane, you can see how it's already now Millenium pushing it with 2 members. Normally you're just sending your support to force them away, but obviously they had vision. They saw they started their camp and they were saying, our support can't push them away alone. So Woolite joins just to stop them from taking 1 camp. I don't think it's worth. I think you keep Woolite topside there. You just have your support annoy them and you surrender 1 camp. Not the end of the world. You still have plenty of camps to take. I want to see how much it affects once they actually get towards tower. Because now Inspire might only have 1 minion wave coming in. A lot of dead minions already.
We may even see what happened to Millenium last game happen onto Inspire on the red side, where they just had 1 minion wave and bot lane would be taken faster. Because Millenium were actually stacking that wave in the bottom lane. And once again, this will be the buff trade. coming out, but I think Millenium should be able to push faster.
Well, luckily for Inspire, Millenium are again super slow at actually getting to the tower. There are two guys kind of wandering around, letting Hans Sama only hit the tower alone. Now they join him. So they might not even be ahead in the tempo if we can see the top. Yeah, they're actually even now, but look at this. This is what we talked about. The wave is now going to die. Before the next wave, you always want the last minion to die, your minion that is, when the next wave arrives, so you can stay on the tower. You don't lose these 2 seconds. Not the end of the world again from Inspire, but it does delay them. Luckily, Millenium are not very focused on rushing down towers. I don't think they really look into what the value is in getting those extra few seconds. But they are still slightly ahead of them. FLICKR also get a few extra hits in. And Kaze should get the full gold. Masterwork, please do not take half of it.
Did he actually get interrupted by a minion there, or did he just cancel?
I think he realized that the minion would go onto him anyway before he could finish it. Kaze should also stay in lane here and continue farming, because look how far ahead they are now of this tower. He would get 5-6 extra CS by staying in the lane because they were faster killing the tower, and he should have also had the full gold from tower itself, giving him a pretty good advantage over Sartorius. I don't feel recalling for one item is worth it at all compared to getting 5, 6, 7 extra CS. But obviously it's going to be slow pushing. Inspire should definitely send their bot lane to the bottom side now, because you do not want the 2v2 top against the Thresh Lucian, and you don't want their FLICKR get the 1v1 against Malphite. Because Malphite is now going down to a lane that is pushing away from him. You always send your strongest part, which is now obviously because it's an AD carry and support, they're stronger than a Malphite. You send that part to where the lane is pushing away, because you need to have your strongest members where your map is the weakest.
Correct.
And you need your weakest member to get the wave. By putting Sartorius bot now, he might get denied. Literally everything you see down on bottom side now. Every single CS from bot side might get denied from Sartorius outside of 2 or 3 of them. This should be a massive advantage for Kaze. They are sacrificing their top laner in an already tough 1v1 matchup against Millenium's way of winning the game by having FLICKR outscale. I really disagree with this play from Inspire.
Maxwell now comes down into the bottom lane, has been revealed, so we clear away this ward. So this will be pushed into the tower now. And Kaze, I mean, he should still be able to farm into this tower. There's no real dive pressure in from like a Graves and a Malphite at this stage in the game. So he's going to get all of that.
And this is almost the only thing Inspire can do, is send your jungler down to back up and push it out. So you reset it on tower, let the tower kill the minions together with Kaze. You're still going to fall really far behind.
Yeah.
So you are in a situation where both plays you can make suck. One just sucked less than the other one. And that's what Inspire did do. But 18 CS to 7, a level advantage for Kaze. This is going to be a tricky one for Sartorius, and he might not have the same impact we saw in the first game.
We kind of underestimate how important it is that FLICKR is so far ahead. Costco in the middle lane, Ignite goes down onto Pretty, but he's a Nivea, he still has the egg! One more tick! Oh, Cosq, sub 20 HP there. Pretty, he wasn't even near dying since he still had the egg up and available. That was very close, and Pretty actually gets ahead in that trade because he keeps the flash.
So good trades in the mid lane. Pretty obviously didn't get his passive procced. Better farming for him now compared to last game where he fell behind early on, then had to try and catch up. But now Millenium has so many plays they can make, because you got a winning top lane 2v2, you got a winning bot lane 1v1. That allows you to be proactive and the other team to be reactive. And that is so difficult then to play if you always have to wait for the other team to make a play before you can do anything. See if they can do anything here. Masterwork. Trying to clear the ward, and Joko is nearby. As long as Millenium doesn't make a mistake up here on top side, FLICKR can just keep farming bot lane. Like, look at this, 32 CS now. Sartorius has to wait for the minions to come all the way up to his side of the map before he gets anything.
400 gold advantage. And more importantly, the levels. Like, once Kaze hits level 6 as well, he'll have so much pressure on Sartorius until he gets his own ultimate that he has to just sit underneath his turret or have Maxwell babysit him. Who's been farming his whole game? He's now level 6 over Dioko, who's been doing a little bit of tracking, a little bit of going to lanes, and also hasn't gone back just yet, so he's not on the Cinderhulk. Maxwell also hasn't gone back, so he's only on Tracker's Knife, so he prioritized that over the damage because he wasn't really looking to, 1, go for ganks, or 2, go for the one-on-one trades, and you can see that reflecting the gold there.
Yeah, another play Millenium can make right here is actually because they have that 2v2 up top. Just try and push out the wave and then recall. And then you can try and rush down to your lane. Sorry, Inspire, not Millenium. Because what they're doing now is that pushing out the wave, they have backup from the jungler. So you can make a decision here. Do we want to try and push it in on the tier 2 tower? That's fairly difficult. Lucian is fine wave clear at this point with his Q to clear it out. Or we push out recall, and then when Sartorius start pushing out bot lane now at his own tower, we come down and we join him, and we just push it in on tier 1 tower against Fiora, and we rush it in with 4 members. That's how you can start speeding up the game and get a very quick tower. So if they recall now, and start taking that wave with Sartorius where he's pushing it down, they can actually force a play on Millenium and on Fiora. Looks like they're waiting though in the jungle for a pick. Now Woolite is recalling. This is a little bit too late. You push out the wave, you instant recall, because then the pushback from Millenium is slower than yours, and you might be 5-10 seconds ahead of them in getting down that tier 1 tower bot lane. So they should be here now with Sartorius and actually have him push it out with them. Take that tower. If Millenium only keeps 2 guys top, Sartorius just TPs up to top lane and then he picks up the farm. But instead, Inspire is looking for standard lanes again. They know they're losing that bot lane 1v1.
Yeah,
why do you keep running into it?
Kaze, this big minion wave is pushing into him now. Sartorius goes back into the bottom lane. Maxwell is still in the bottom side as well, along with Joko. And this minion wave is going to push so far away from Malphite.
He's going to fall so far behind. I mean, this lead is just going to continue snowballing for Kaze.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for a Fiora who just wants to scale up, become one of the most annoying split pushers in the game. Maxwell is here against the same play. They might be able to kill him.
Oh, the flash reaction from Kaze. Maxwell will follow up. He's got the red buff for a bit of extra damage now, but even if he lines up against the wall, it's going to be a little bit more until Kaze will take the damage now of the animation when it hits the tower. But Maxwell was not able to pick up the kill and use his ultimate, which was riposted. Pretty in the mid lane. A lot of damage coming out from Kazuki, softening up his target.
It's the same play again, though, from Inspire. When the wave is grouped and slow pushing down to Kaze, they send down Maxlore to push it out with him. Didn't get the kill. Very good riposte from Kaze on the ulti from Graves in the end. But it's the same. And then the problem is you also end up sharing experience with your Malphite. So he doesn't even get the full benefit of pushing out that wave. He's level 6 at this point. Kaze is probably closer to 8 than Sartorius is to level 7. And there's the big CS difference. While you don't gain an advantage if you Inspire anywhere else on the map. Mid lane is even. That's not going to be impacted by what you do on the side lanes at this point. Top lane just goes even 2v2. So you don't really benefit from going standard lanes if you're Inspire over and over. You just allow Fiora to get even more free farm.
67 CS to 35.
10 minutes in.
Oh, that's not good. Max Law potentially caught out, but he is Graves, and he does have a dash over the wall. It just means Millenium will be able to secure this crab. Joko will body block. Wait a minute! Winelbo stole it with the Tormented Soil. Now he moves on to Handsammer, gets the Soul Shackles, and the Handsummoners 1v2 will be first-blooded. Maxwell may also be caught out here, but he's got to carry on the chase. As Winelbo looking to line up the binding, does not connect it onto Masterwork. But, man, what is happening?
We talked about this earlier. Top side of the map, all Millenium has to do is just not die. Literally just farm even 2v2. They're fighting in river, and then Hans is just pushing again. He's like, more minions, man. And he then gets ganked by a support. Walking up behind him.
Yeah.
Venerable ulti, follow with the flash, picks up the kill. Suddenly Inspire is now gaining from taking the standard lanes where they should be losing. Pretty has no passive anymore, popped by Cosq.
Could play into it in the next couple minutes, but first blood over to Inspire. And I thought this was going way better for Millenium because we didn't have the explosive start to the game. They were stalling out the entire match. They were getting advantage in the 1v1. They had the advantage even in the mid lane because LeBron couldn't pressure out Pretty. Now he's got the egg. Now top lane died to pick up that kill. While it's not reflected in terms of the gold or really the stats, you can kind of just see the pressure that could be created over the next couple minutes from Inspire because of that play.
Yeah, gold should not be even if your top lane is almost 30 CS down already. See what happens here. Masterwork gets to walk out, but you can see that top side of the map, there's no flash now on the bottom lane from Millenium, so they can't really fight. And Inspire can just take over that side completely and start playing more around it. So let's look at it. Look at the top lane here. Lucian is just solo pushing in against Kalista despite Morgana being spotted behind him. And Venerable just goes in, pops his ulti, follows him, and then kills him. Saw the mistakes in game 1 from Hansama. We're seeing them now in game 2, and it's costing his team. because it's actually a gold lead for Inspire, despite the CS leads we see on the side of Millenium between both jungle and top lane.
I just don't know what's going on. Like, I'm just watching these players make mistake after mistake, overextending in the bottom lane, getting ulted by Sartorius. Wendelbo jumps aggressively into the base and even uses flash for that one, but gets the 1 and 0. Top inner goes down, and Inspire actually do get a big chunk of gold off this. Joko was a little far forward. Wendelbo's there with the punish, the soul shackles, and will get the stun. Joko has to turn around, put as much damage as he can as possible. Pretty has cut off Sartorius, and there's so much damage coming in from the Fiora, but she jumps into 1v3 instead of finishing off Sartorius, who even escapes by himself as Handsummer comes up. What am I watching?
Panic from Millenium again. Their communication, it seems to be as soon as one mistake happens, everything just falls apart. It was a good play from Inspire because they took the kill, they took the Rift Herald, and then grouped up with that big minion wave. We talked about how there was no flash for the bottom lane of Millenium. They can't really fight, so they have to just surrender the wave and let it push down towards the tier 2. So that's why Rift Herald was great. Buff up these minions, push it in, try and get the tower with your range jungler in Graves. Once you see the replay, and then they have them at tower, no summoners, great TP from Sartorius. This is where he still can be useful. But this is now Millenium just making that first mistake that snowballs into the second mistake and not respecting the play Inspire can make. Kaz's teleport is no clue. I think maybe he's teleporting and then Coscu shows up and pokes him down because he's full HP now on your minimap. He TPs. Okay, so he TPs, he looks at where he's going, and Coscu pokes him down to 50%. He shows up, he's like, what's going on? Oh, I'm dead. There he dies instantly. So he was just looking at the mid lane. He's already TPing out in the open, where Coscu then pokes him down.
Oh, man. I mean, first of all, well played by Inspire, but second, Millenium are just making so many mistakes, and they're making like proactive moves that just makes it very easy for Inspire to punish. We're talking at the start of the game where Millenium actually have the advances in these lanes. They can make these pushes happen, they can be proactive, but when the reactive team is getting so much from it, this may change in a second as Sartorius gets caught out by a death sentence, but it was not so much of a death sentence this time, it's more of a tickle, and he'll just kind of walk away.
And now we have that issue for Millenium, which they didn't manage to solve in the last game, is once you fall behind and can no longer rely on just brute forcing your way through the lanes into Snowball, you now have to make these decisions as a team on a macro level. They couldn't do it last game. That has to change, otherwise Inspire, with this goal lead, with the control they have, might just run away with the game and take a 2-0, which we didn't expect coming into this.
3 points today would put them ahead of Millenium. It's at 7-9 currently. That would be really incredible in week 4 here. Oh, we didn't see that.
Just when the camera is randomly showing you, you faceplant into the wall.
Ooh, hook lands onto Warlight. He was spell shielded by Wendelbo, looking for a potential follow-up, but Joko is in the bottom lane. Tunnels over the wall, tracking them on the Tremor Sense, lands the Prey Seeker, flashes over the Binding, should get the knock-up here. There's the Grand Challenge in from Kaze. Surely this should be a kill onto Warlight. Maybe even Wendelbo, he'll flash away. Joko will chime in with the kill along with Masterwork. That's the 2-0 Cosq has found pretty off to the side. He likes his egg scrambled. Can he get away from this one? No, he's pretty dead. Oh, he jumps out of the way of the collateral damage. Pretty, he's still ticking down and is able to get away very briefly. Cosq is going to jump over the wall, flashes over, in with the sigil, and will jump all the way back to the original distortion pad. Now Joker's there to meet Maxlore, but he'll jump over the wall. He's good to go. Cosq made up for that fail jump into the wall earlier from distortion.
So this time Millenium finds the right teamfight down the bottom lane. No TP for Sartorius, he couldn't join in. Joko just sneaking in behind. Jumping on to Woolite and Venelbo.
That's the ultimate mind game. He did that on top of a wall as well, where he face planted and he was just like, hey look guys, I'm lagging. And then he just like kills the Nivea by himself. Jumps in, makes a sick play. Got him.
Now we just need more of this from Millenium. In order to get back into this game, LeBlanc will start split pushing now. Nobody can hold her 1v1, because if Fiora has to sit against the Malphite, so you have to teleport against each other, you're never sending a Nivea to side lane. A Lucian side lane versus LeBlanc is super, super risky for the Lucian. He's 2 levels down, he can get one shot. very, very easily. Let's see the setup again. So Joko is sneaking in behind. I really like the flash to knock up to dodge the binding as well, so you don't give any reaction time. Venombo does stop them for a few seconds, but they end up going down. Meanwhile, Coscu gets the kill onto Pretty. Oh, he gets him into Ek. Sadly, you can't really click on that lantern in time, and gets out. Whoop. And Coscu will get the kill in the end.
That's actually really cool. It was a flash over the wall to dodge the flash thrust.
Beautiful.
Sigil,
all
jump
the way
all
back
the way
then.
back. Yeah.
Well played by Coscu.
That was a cool play. Wendelbo. Look at all these tunnels that can be cleared out. If Woolite stands on top of the tunnel as well, look at that doubling up in the gold. That is 10 gold per tunnel.
Synergy.
Yeah.
Right there. Much needed synergy for Woolite and Vendelbo. Have been part of a lot of kills in this game.
I'll be honest, Hans Sammer and Masterwork was the duo that had probably the best synergy outside of this week. Woolite and Wendelbo, it was pretty solid. We've had games where Inspire have built compositions around Woolite, knowing he can do well in the lane and he can follow up, he can kill everybody. But it's really just looked like Woolite and Wendelbo have outshone Hans Sammer and Masterwork in this game. Not only in the 2v2, but also what they've done in terms of lane swaps. Pretty in the mid lane, he does not have his egg. Collateral damage, or he didn't land the explosion off the tower, and because he was also running away from it, it still wouldn't have dealt the damage because of the new animation that's been added in 6.3.
Still, Inspire can now make a play on the other side, on the bottom side of the map, because they just pushed in Anivia to base, and you can see Coscu is already roaming down together with Maxlord. They have TP for the Malphite, so instant impact on that one, and that is enough to make Millenium respect it and back away. So Millenium are learning a little bit here and being like, okay, we have no mid laner. Coscu is roamed. It's fine. We can surrender some of the wave on tower. Now he's back in mid lane from Coscu's side, so they know, okay, we can actually try and defend. So this time around, they reacted. Nobody died. Tower is still alive. And that's the correct play from Millenium, but also the correct move from Inspire.
This is just the blue taken away from Pretty, which is kind of big because he's a Nivea.
Which we also saw a bit of in the last game. Anivia can't really contest the blue buff that well, but she really wants that blue buff. Against Malphite, Graves, LeBlanc, like you die instantly. There's no passive, there's no flash. That blue buff, you're never gonna get near it. So very smart play by Inspire to always go in and play aggressive towards it. Now you just gotta chunk that Anivia again. Put Graves in the mid lane one more time with LeBlanc. LeBlanc can always engage onto Anivia and start the fight. Chunk her, force her back to base, either take mid tower or move to that bot lane again and make a play. Look at Coscu. Just do this over and over and over. Let Graves join in, Q ulti, Pretty's gone. He's either dead or he's in base. And then you make a play on the bottom side of the map. And that's how you open up the game against, again, this wave clear machine that is in mid lane. You gotta constantly have pressure in the lane and force them back to base. And then you make the play where you have the numbers advantage.
I was having a conversation with Stress last week about Pretty's champion pool and how he always delivers on Anivia, on Orianna, these control mages, and you don't really want to ban out a control mage in champion select when you have so many priority picks up. It just ruins your champion select. But in this game, they've just answered it perfectly with their composition, with the Malphite in this game, the Hecarim in the last one, Coscu on a pressure mid lane like the Corki, the LeBlanc who can suppress him. They basically drafted the tools that they needed to beat Pretty at his own game, because they know his champion pool is very predictable.
Almost every control mage takes time to scale up into the late game point where they become super, super strong, or at least late mid game, early late game. So by picking strong laners, and as you said yourself, hard engage, you can always pressure them. And that's what Inspire has been doing. So very clearly, they've been preparing a lot for this specific matchup against Millenium all week long. And they found some very, very good solutions. But it also should be a awakening call for Millenium that maybe what they're doing is too predictable. You can't keep just playing control mages and things like Anivia, which not a whole lot of other people are playing right now.
But that's just a problem in every league, right? Like, you play one style really, really well. You beat everyone for the first couple of weeks, kind of like SK, what, 2014, 2015, where they had the 1-3-1. Oof, that wasn't even going to connect. And then teams start figuring you out. And this is what's happening right here with Inspire. Now the dive underneath this tower. Masterworks dropping low. Joker will have to flash away. No one's dead just yet. Coscu off to the side. Handsama wants the kill. He gets with the culling. Pretty will also go down in return. Both mid laners are down for the count. Joko gets bound up by Wenobo. Very easy to predict that one as he's walking to the tower, tries to get the protection from his teammates. And a 2-for-1. Kaze in from the back lines. This could be big. Flashes onto Wenobo, but there is zero support from his team.
Well, I mean, he's going in alone. This is like, that's the solo queue where you're just saying, team? Team? What are you doing? It's like, he's going 1v4. I don't think Millenium could even help him there, even if they wanted to.
What is going on? Hansama, you can't win this trade, and Woolite will punish you for it. He would have even taken another tower shot and would have been fine.
It's the same panic. One thing goes wrong, they lose bot tower, then Inspire goes mid, takes mid tower and sets up the dive, and it seems like, again, it just crashes for Millenium. Every member is kind of like thinking on their own, oh, I'm going to be the hero, you know, I can jump in and finish this one. Pretty flashes. I'm not even sure if that binding would have hit him, but he plays it very safe, so they lose mid tower. Koskyu can go aggressive here because they can see the rest of the members coming in from Millenium. This is a good play from Hansama to take him down. The problem is, we talked about this, hard engage onto a Nivea, lock her down, kill her, and now, as a team, you obviously say, guys, we can't really do a whole lot more, especially not when Joko dies. Kaze is still coming from top side. He could just run away by now.
Yeah, this is really weird.
Like, guys, I can fight.
This is like that image where the guy's like riding his bike and puts the tire iron in his in his bicycle. It's like, team?
Yeah, this is... Millenium are way too greedy. And I think they have been too used to being able to outplay mechanically. 1v1, 1v2. So they are very confident they can take these fights.
Yeah.
But Inspire just sticking together as a team. Every single time, and they have CC to, oh, is Fiora coming at us? Binding from Morgana, take her down. So we see teamwork against just brute force, almost in this matchup, and teamwork, remember that, guys, teamwork always wins.
Teamwork OP.
There's no I in teamwork.
As I heard Freak say once in a Champion Spotlight.
It is OP.
Yeah, it is. You can see it right here. For the longest time, we had metas where, like, you know, getting ahead in lane, win lane, win game, but right here, Inspire really just showing what they can do as a team. There's the ultimate coming in onto Kaze, not repulsing that one. Masterwork is trying to support his team, but he'll have to back away. Joko is hardly at front line as we get the double kill for Woolite, but so many people are dropping low here from Inspire. That could be the double kill coming in from Pretty. There's the 1 or the 2 for 3. Pretty is following up on the Wenobo and Maxdor, but unfortunately, he is a Nivea, so he can't pick up those kills there, and Hansam is not there to clean up, but that was a risky Baron.
Yeah, very early in the game still to start a Baron from Inspire. It's okay if you disengage instantly and then use it to force a team fight, but I think they stayed on the Baron and got poked down quite a bit before it even happened. We'll give a mid tower for Inspire, or sorry, for Millenium, so they get the kills, get a mid tower, and they get a bit of a breathing they get breathing room.
They get breathing room, yep. We are in a breathing room.
Yeah, we're breathing in the room as well. Still, Inspire can technically set up the same play. This time be ready to fight instantly.
Yep.
You want to get that Malphite ulti back up before you do it though. You want to now use your pink wards to actually have Koskyu sit and hide in a bush so he can flank. Let's see, Woolite is on there, Sartorius is tanking the Baron. This is still fine. Look at Koskyu's positioning, sitting to flank, so it's actually okay by Inspire. Fight itself, Koskyu gets poked down, so he doesn't get to do his full combo in terms of damage at this point, which is needed to pop these early targets. And then we get to see Millenium actually kite around the box. Hansama is there. Another team fight.
We're right into another fight. And Joker will be going down this time. Wendellbell will be the one to pick up that kill. Koskyu over the wall onto Kaze. Going to pick up that one. He's being chased after. The cheese wheel comes in from Sartorius and the grand challenge is issued. But he'll just kind of walk away because his team's already there. That was a weird ultimate coming in from Kaze. That was a 1-0, and now Inspire will pressure the Baron 4v5. Koskyu's waiting in the bus, seeing if we can snipe someone up, but it's the full stack in from Millenium. The binding doesn't land from Wendellbell.
This is risky,
and this has been started. They need to turn around instantly. They need to decide one way or the other.
Sartorius has no ulti, so he has no value in this fight to actually start a fight. And wisely, Inspire decides to back away, but again, it now gives Millenium the chance to actually push in mid and get more breathing room. Every single time Inspire starts that Baron and gets into a fight where it's very close, maybe they lose one member, they delay the Baron, they get to push up now a few more waves, even steal away a blue buff for Pretty, so it's still fine for Inspire because they are still winning. They still have a composition that should be able to close out this game, but we have that scaling from Fiora, from Anivia, for Millenium here. I mean, we're starting getting close to a death cap or a void staff from Pretty. and he can start doing some serious damage. Fiora, we know, can just scale up to an absolute monster. Black Cleaver is coming in for him against the Malphite, so nobody can stand 1v1 against Fiora once Black Cleaver is completed.
13 to 5. Inspire definitely with the advances in this game. About 4,500 gold. Just had to math that one real quick. So they are ahead for sure. This dragon is being taken. Remember, this is the new patch, so this is still the movement speed on the third one, but they did get the extra damage. 2 towers on hit. That's a dot, remember? So it's good to hit, run away, hit, run away.
It doesn't add that much value if you're standing and consistently hitting the tower.
Yeah.
But if you just get like 1 or 2 hits and then walk away, and you slowly chip them down, it is better. The problem is, you almost never want to play the game where you just chip away on tower for maybe like 2-3 minutes. It's better to then push it down to the tower and then walk into the enemy jungle and set a vision and create the big play, where you can get a full tower in one big play. Still, it helps, it makes it better. 4th dragon definitely is stronger. So it is okay. I don't think it's enough to make dragon suddenly a super contested thing, because towers are still worth so much more, and overall experience is just worth more than always trying to fight for dragons.
Oh, Maxlore gets hooked up here, but they can't really jump on that opportunity.
Same thing again though. Start Baron, force teleport from Kase. It's what they're trying to do now. They just want to force that TP so Kase can't keep split pushing. The longer Millenium can delay going in, the better, because then obviously more damage for Inspire. They're going now.
They're gonna jump in. Kozku's already pushed out of the fight, so is Warlight. Lots of Inspire members have taken a lot of poke for this one, and Baron is regenerating.
And now Inspire needs to back away. The problem is, 3rd, 4th time, I feel like we're seeing this. Inspire walks in to start the Baron. They have no mid lane control. Step 1 of always setting up Baron is pushing out mid lane.
Yep.
Every time Millenium has had the wave coming towards the enemy tower. So now, they could just walk in and take a free tower. Just by stopping that, trading TP for Baron play, mid tower. Push your mid lane first. Then walk into the river. Start that Baron instantly. And get them to run in and try and contest it without having the minion wave in a position where they can walk up and take your tower. Because you will always disengage to the north side, because you're on the Baron, and they're coming from mid lane towards you. So Inspired are giving away time for Millenium, giving a bit of gold here and there. They got the TP though, so no split pushing from Kase for the next few minutes. Where Sartorius will have that control on bot side. You can see him down here in your minimap, already pushing bot lane to try and get the tier 2 tower. And the rest of the team just needs to stay around Baron to have the illusion, oh, if you go bot lane, we TP in with Malphite and we take Baron 5v4.
That was still a really nice heads-up play from Millenium coming in there, going straight for that tower in the mid lane. Let's take a look at some of the item builds though, because Kaze went with the Ravenous Hydra and now has gone into Titanic, so swapped over for a more tanky build and alongside the Black Cleaver. So he swapped up there. Mid lane's basically the same from Pretty. Gonna Fiends this game with the Rod of Ages. Bot lane, as usual. Top lane, Sartorius has actually gone for the Abyssal Scepter as well.
So Inspire right now is not around Baron at all. Millenium just walked down 3-4 guys to the bottom side to stop that push. And now Inspire is moving to Baron, so it's way too slow. Like, this is the play we just talked about literally a minute ago. You hover around Baron, they walk down to stop you, and you then TP in. The problem was, Inspire were late to doing this, and also have 3 pink wards in the Baron.
We have ultimate vision, that's 15 auto attacks.
Millenium might be able to stop it though, because they're nearby.
This could go quite badly. Kozku's getting chunked. One elbow as
Joko
well.
got
That's a steal from Joko. Big ultimate in from Sartorius. This is getting messy very quickly. Warlight jumps onto Handshammer. Should be able to pick him up. Or not. There's the shutdown onto Fiora. Kaze, double kill coming in from Handshammer. 4 for 1. Utter collapse from Inspire.
Inspire decided we don't need to hover around Baron. Let's just run around mid lane with 2 members, have our Graves in the enemy jungle on the bottom side of the map, and then we still go for the play once Millenium show bot lane. Well, that's not how it works. You have 1 guy bot, 4 members around mid lane to go straight to Baron as soon as someone shows up on the bottom side, who's not Joko with his ulti, and then you rush it and make that play. So they had the right play in mind, but the execution was completely off, and that's why Millenium had time to rush from bot lane to Baron, stop the Baron, win the fight, because now people are stuck in the Baron pit against an Anivia. And we talked about this, like, scaling up more and more to the late game. This was really bad from Inspire, and they might just have completely lost the game on one play.
I wonder how much gold that Millenium got from that, because they took the Baron, they just took a turret in the top lane, a turret in the mid lane. There's 2 exposed inhibitors. Kaze is dead, but I mean, it took so much from that.
Almost every play we've seen from Kaze in this series has been him just randomly walking in and dying. Anyway, this is where the play was supposed to actually work out for Inspire, because you can see how Kaze in your minimap is so far away. But there is enough time for the rest of Millenium to come up, because it was so slow for Inspire to start it. And now they're in the pit, all of them. Thresh box, you have Anivia damage like Hansama with Delusion. Easy cleanup for Inspire.
Oh.
Sorry, for Millenium. Definitely not a cleanup for Inspire.
No. They had Kalista and Smite there, and they still didn't secure it. Joko somehow still managed to collect the Baron with Smite.
I didn't even get to see how much the Baron was on when the Rend came in. You always want to smite first, and then you Rend. So like, you smite down to what? 1200 HP, and you just Rend. There should be no way for enemy jungle then to steal it, and yet Joko managed to sneak in. Potentially we saw Woolard Rend first into Smite after, and that actually gives an opening for the enemy jungler to take it, and that's what happened. So 2 big mistakes there from Inspire. Down in gold now.
Yeah, that was a huge swing in from Millenium. Now Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Joko is in the bottom sides of the map. He is so tanky now as well. We've got Kaze in the top lane with teleport, Joko in the bottom lane with Void Rush, which is also a teleport if he's got the pre-set up.
As long as Millenium doesn't get engaged on now, they're gonna push in and get a free inhib. If they walk in too close and get engaged on though, they actually give Inspire a chance to get something back. So this is the correct play. Hover around it, but don't ever get close enough for Malphite to ult you. Let Kaze push top. You push mid now.
Importantly, that was 4th dragon for Inspire, so if they hold on in this game for another 6 minutes, they'll have Aspect if they can take the last dragon. Sartorius now coming into the top lane. He's there in time to stop Kaze from taking the inhibitor. Bot lane tower goes down from Millenium. Now they just need to try and defend this last inhibitor turret. But Inspire could definitely do it. This is one of the few moments where an enemy team has Baron, and there's still possibility for a fight to come in here. Kaze very deep. He's fairly tanky though, and will be spell shielding up a lot of the damage in from LeBlanc. Joko goes deep. His team is there. Big Malphite ultimate. This could go either way at this point, as it's a 1-for-1 jungler for ADC. But Warlight is down. Big minion wave in the middle lane, and Super's pushing in. This could be Millenium closing in here. Kaze's low, however, and Hans Sama is in critical HP. Oh, Kozq jumps in. Not quite enough damage to finish them off, and the end of the line is easily dodged away. Hans Sama is in deep.
Don't think he can do a whole lot here. Took 1-for-1 in the fight. Kozq can always get the Black Shield and play very aggressive. You can see again Black Shield onto him, and he can now jump in with his ulti. Doesn't have to worry about the CC, and he might get on Summer.
It's the Ignite. He's dead. Shutdown in for Kozq. Overextension.
Pretty now
will also now be finished off. He's so low, but Maxdol will come in with the flash. The wall comes up, and he'll be going down. Oh man, what looked like such a good play. 2 inhibitors sieging the base, but they're all split up.
Yeah, Millenium had the chance to take every single inhib down, but they started hovering around that Nexus turret, 100% sure if they could maybe finish. Kozq got that Black Shield every time, just jumped in, did a lot of damage, and forced Millenium back, and now they end up giving up 2 kills. Still, 2 inhibs are gone. Inspire's only way to win this game is basically one big 5-on-5 team fight. Millenium can wait for super minions now to push. They have a late game Fiora who can split push once the TP is back alive, or back up. Surrender this mid tower. I would even say surrender the mid lane tower near your inhib. That's fine as well. You just don't want to risk a big fight now, because if that happens, Inspire might be able to win the game still. Let your super minions do work. Sartorius is sitting in base with home guards. He might TP in with home guards.
There it is. He's on that minion. And now he comes in. The tower is down. Sartorius looking for an ultimate to come out. Hans Sama has been cheese-wheeled, so he's very low. Sartorius thinking about the ultimate. The hook lands onto the minion. Masterwork doesn't really want this one. Dodges out of the way of the binding as they come in for the chase. Prey Seeker lands. Millenium are stepping so far out of the base.
It's going to be a team fight now,
Pulse. Be incredibly close. This team fight could basically decide the game here, Deficio, because we're only 36 minutes in, but with so many objectives down, this could be the game-winning fight.
All right, so smart enough by Millenium. They tried to see if maybe they could stop a few recalls and let the super minions push in on bot side. Realized they got a little bit too close to a potential fight and decided to back away from it. Instead now, Baron, 1 minute. Set up that Baron. There's no TP for Sartorius because he used it before aggressively to get that inhib. So that means nobody can defend on bottom side. when Baron is alive, technically. Otherwise, Millenium will get a very easy free objective and then push into base after. So you put the enemy team now in a position where there are almost no good plays. Because you gotta defend for super minions on bot side, but you also gotta stop the Baron. And you just use your TP offensively. Millenium, if they take it easy now and pick up that Baron and don't get into a big 5-on-5 team fight, should be able to have these super minions do the work.
Now, regardless of what the result is in this game, this has been quite messy from both teams in various ways. And even though Inspired looked so good, a lot of what they got was punishes of Millenium being too aggressive in the early game. Millenium just got punished there as well in the late game for trying to go a little too deep. And it really is just anyone's game at this point, whoever makes less mistakes. But
look at bot lane though, super minions coming in. Millenium just needs to hover around, don't fight, don't start the Baron straight away, just hover around it. Wait for someone to go back and clear these super minions, then you start the Baron. Because it can either be a 5v4 team fight or you get a free Baron. So just keep hovering around it until someone shows. Now Cosq is going to show on the minions, start the Baron. Pretty needs to be in position, and also Kaze needs to be in position to be ready.
Dear.
That's the worst that can happen.
Masterwork called out by the binding, he'll go down. Fate's call from Warlight will save the support, he'll be thrown back in. Handshammer instantly bound up, Wendelbow. Unbelievable binding there with the follower. Kaze's there by himself once again, does not have the team to assist. Triple kill comes out, the flash, the ult from Sartorius. The team should be able to get in there. Throws out the seismic shard and takes a little bit of damage from Pretty, but he's Malphite, he just doesn't take damage.
How?
5, 4, 1. Ace comes out from Cosq. This will be IE closing in for the win. What just happened? What am I watching
Millenium
in
had
this
so
series?
many options. They just had to just hover around Baron and don't get into a fight. Cosq was clearing the base. And like, rest of Millenium were like randomly in the jungle.
Inspire eSports 2-0 over Millenium in week 4. What a series.
And man, Millenium, again, when it really matters and you need that clear-cut communication and calling, it falls apart. Masterwork got caught out. Meanwhile, Pretty was in the jungle and Kaze was trying to shove out mid.
Yeah.
Instead of all of them actually being ready to just rush that Baron as soon as Cosq showed bot lane. And when the other team walks in, you fight them. 5v4, no LeBlanc. Thresh gets caught out and dies. So it's instantly a 4v4. And Cosq had time to run all the way from base, join the fight and pick up like 1 kill in the end.
Yeah. I mean, that just shouldn't have happened. Like, LeBlanc goes there. She's not got teleport. It's going to take her a while to get there. Didn't even have teleport in the Malphite. The play was clear.
And even if she leaves and gets to the Baron, the super minions are going to keep coming in.
Right.
And, like, push into that. You even had teleport, actually, I believe, on Kaze in the end. He could have TP'd and tried and backdoor. I feel like there were so many plays for Millenium to make, and there was one play for Inspire to make. And that was catch one guy and, like, just kill him or just hard engage with the Malphite where you weren't in a 4v5. And they got that one opening. They were winning the game, though, until that massive mistake around the Baron, where they were so slow at making the correct play, technically. They were just way too slow to execute it. And they gave over 5 kills on Baron and 3-4 towers after.
Yeah.
Millenium were winning that game.
I know.
And then late. I mean...
I know.
Millenium is going to have a lot of stuff to look at. I mean,
these
2 games.
That's a difficult one to swallow, right? Like, you come into the game, first game, you lose pretty handily by the enemy team. Second one, you come back and almost have the game right there in your hands, and it comes down to multiple bindings that you just get caught. And as you said, so many options there. They had so many different ways to go. But that was definitely a different Millenium that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Because if you covered up the name tags, I would not have known it was Millenium going in there. Coordination was off. Individual play was off. We didn't have big players in from the bottom lane with the 2v2. Even when they got the 2v2 after the lane swap, they still lost. And they also got lane swap multiple times. They didn't have control over the early game, so they didn't even have the information that there was going to be a lane swap. It was just all over the place.
And now the big question is, Millenium next week, can they now look at these games and say, okay, we made a ton of mistakes here and here and here. How do we fix them? What do we need to do, in 1 week to avoid this happening again? And that's a problem because if you're, should we say, like the foundation is a little bit wrong, sometimes with champion pools, sometimes with the way you like to play the game, it can become difficult once one team figure out how to play against you and draft against you because other teams can just copy Inspire. Strong pressure mid laner who can actually duel against Pretty, and some hard engage coming in from top lane to pressure an Anivia pick. And it worked wonders in both games, in fights. And it was very difficult for Pretty to have an impact, even though he has been doing fine in the other games. More teams can draft the same. Look at what Inspire did, try and play the same way. Match this team on a macro level, not individual level, is the way to go.
Well, let's follow up on that, actually, DeFisher, because we have Maxlaw on the line for an interview here to talk about that game. And currently, you're actually ahead in #1 in the standings. So, hey, Maxlaw, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, and how are you doing?
Quite well, and I'm sure you're doing very well after that series. And as DeFisher was just saying, you seem to have the number of Millenium in this one. How did your preparation go coming into this week?
It was basically, we looked through the match history of all the Millennium players, and we tried to just see what they consistently play. For example, Poppy for Kaze. And we looked at specific picks in the mid lane. Like, we generally think that Pretty plays like Anivia, Orianna, Ahri, like Anivia. These really kind of farm champs, and it's really dependent on Dejoko, who plays 3 AD champs in the jungle and stuff like this. And we just based our team comp around that, where we just go like a split push kind of, for example, Hecarim, and just hard engage as soon as the Hecarim pressures and then rotates towards mid, for example.
And it worked. I mean,
very well thought out.
Super effective. A lot of credit to you guys for the strategy. I want to look at the pick you played in game 1, the Gragas jungle. It's a new pick, obviously, coming in now, 6.3. What do you think Gragas really offers, and how strong do you think he is right now in the jungle?
I think the thing is, if you go Cinderhulk, I think he's pretty, not so good. Kind of like a Cinderhulk Elise, where you're just a tank. You don't really, obviously Gragas is better, but with Runic Echo, your clear time is insane and your damage is insane. And with Strength of Ages, it kind of makes up for the health you miss out on Cinderhulk. So in terms of actual jungling, he's pretty decent. But when it comes to team fighting, he just can offer so much, damage, and his ulti is engage and disengage. When his flash is up, it's just really, Gragas is just OP. So that's my thought on Gragas. I think it's pretty strong right now.
It was very strong in that series, and also the interaction with Kindred as well, being blasting out of the ultimate is fantastic. While on the topic of picks, we've seen Sartorius bring a lot of interesting things into the top lane, such as the Gragas before the changes, Hecarim in this series, and also the Shen just after the rework. So why do you pick these different picks in the top lane, if you can comment on
that? We just try and see what we think is kind of strong in scrims and what works really well with the way we play. And generally, we just played Shen, and we thought this is like an OP champ because you can do specific strategies, because you basically have double TP, and if the enemy doesn't have TP, or if he has TP, you can just bait it and then go back to bot lane, for example, and TP back to Nashra or whatever. Hecarim just seems to just one-shot everything, so we just decided to play that. And Gragas is kind of the same, and it's really just, well, Gragas is just Sartorius's favorite champion basically, and yeah, those are the reasons why we go for those picks.
And you guys just took down Millenium, former #1 team, undefeated. Obviously, playoffs are coming up very soon, which leads into the promotion tournament, which leads into the LCS. Right now, do you think you guys are able to play against the likes of Giants and Rocket and actually take them down and then qualify for the LCS?
I think we can take them down. It just we just have to fix our communication, because that seems to be kind of our biggest problem. We have strong individual players, and we know what to do in terms of macro play, but communicating information and split second decisions like Malphite ulti or whatever, we have trouble communicating this. So as soon as we get that on point, we should have a pretty good chance in getting LCS.
Well, it seems very close already. I mean, you were making those split-second decisions with the Malphite pulling the trigger, but thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations on the win, and we will talk to you later.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, what a series. And you heard it from Maxlaw, specifically on his plan for the game and as a team in terms of the preparation, it was so good.
It was clear, right?
Yeah.
Pick and ban phase. First game, how they ban out so they can actually first pick a Corki and don't have to risk giving a Kalista Alistar combo against this Anivia pick, which Pretty just picked both games. And again, I feel like between games you got to be able to adapt and say, okay, they had a clear strategy against our Anivia pick in game 1. We have to change it up a little bit.
Yep.
But it's difficult because you got these 10-15 minutes to fix it, and if it's not something you have practiced a whole lot, you often stick to comfort. and that's what Inspire punished. So a lot of work from Millenium now in fixing some of these predictable patterns they've shown.
Yeah, well, as at this point of history, I would like to remind you of your quote, which was Millenium looked like the most LCS-ready team. The strong early game should secure them a 2-0 win. Your prediction was not even Kasing 1-1, it was the reverse of correct, which is wrong.
Yeah.
Comment.
I'm very surprised with the performance I saw from Millenium.
Indeed, as am I.
I really expected a lot more. They got exposed big time. Full credit to Inspire. And my predictions always suck. Like I'm terrible at predicting anything.
I think that's a little too harsh, but yeah, I definitely in that series, I feel like the recipe has been written out for the rest of the teams now. And even though there is 1 week remaining before getting into playoffs, for now, we see an adaptation from Millenium. But with game 1 in the books, we're rebenching the Danes, so thank you for your services, Deficio, but they're no longer required, so we'll be back in 5 minutes.
It's because of the predictions, right?
Yeah. Get out of here.